Hi guys, and welcome back to Chip's Green World. And it's starting to feel very autumnal in the garden. We've had storms, high winds, rain. We've even had broken pots. This will be an extended autumn episode to catch you up on everything that I've been getting up to in the garden, and also to bring an end to our wonderful gardening year in Chip's Green World. We're finally going to be tackling the 4 box topiaries that are in the tall pots, downsizing the root balls and repotting them in the smaller pots. We're also going to be moving some of the plants that have died away in the courtyard and replacing them with maybe something that might be more interesting over the winter period. So let's go back 3 weeks and start this week's episode. Starting in the courtyard at the end of the storm. The winds are still quite blustery and we have a little bit of damage, which is my little oak tree. So that's the first job we'll be tackling. But on a good note, the courtyard's looking beautiful. The new pots under planting of the fig trees is looking superb. I'm so pleased. So let's go around and see my little oak tree. And there he is, alongside the acer that has fallen. That luckily is still in its plastic pot, so no damage there. But the oak tree is due a repot, and I have been searching for the right pot to pot it up into, but still no luck, and the search continues. I'll just put it in this plastic pot for now to stop it drying out, as I probably won't get round to repotting it till tomorrow, as the weather's still a bit blustery and the forecast says it's going to be a much nicer day for repotting tomorrow. Right, that's the mess cleaned up. Let's go into the potting shed and see if we can find a temporary pot to pot it up into to get it through the winter period. So for now I've found 2 temporary pots. One of these should do. Let's go and skip on till tomorrow, which is a beautiful day. So on to repotting the first plant of the day, which is the little oak tree. I'm just going to be repotting it into a temporary pot to get it through winter, as I'm unable to find the right pot for it yet. I was thinking more along the lines of a bonsai type of pot, as I've grown this little oak tree from an acorn and it's now 8 years old, and I've always intended it to be a bonsai. So I thought, put it into a little bonsai pot, get it started early. I know a lot of people would actually advise against that. Put it in maybe a bigger pot, get it more mature, thicken up the stem. Then you could always downsize the root ball at a later date and put it into a bonsai pot. But as I want to keep it small so it can sit on the courtyard table, it needs to stay in a small pot. And that's how it's going to stay. So this pot is slightly bigger than the old pot. It's about 1 inch wider and it's at least 2 inches deeper. So there is a bit of room for it to grow into, so I have loosened up the roots. This oak tree has had 4 repots in the 8 years, and normally I rake the root ball out to half the size, refresh the compost and repot back into the same pot. But as this time we've lost the pot, this is just a temporary repot to get it through the winter. And like I said, hopefully I'll find its permanent home over winter. Then come spring, I can downsize the root ball, freshen up the compost and repot in its permanent home. And hopefully the pot I find will be a glazed stone, frost hardy pot that I can repot it in year after year. Make sure we get it all tucked down the sides. There's not much room here, but we've got to persevere and get it tucked in. The funny thing is, another week and this little oak tree will have lost all its leaves. But I'm sure he appreciates my efforts and he'll reward me in spring. Hopefully he'll be feeling very comfortable to get through the winter period now. Right, so there we go, that's him all tucked in, ready to go back on the courtyard table, ready to lose all his leaves, do his autumn thing. Right, now he's back, let's move on to the next job, which is to tackle the plants at the front of the courtyard, the ones that have perished. So we have the 2 potted lilies that need to come out. We're also going to be losing obviously the fern and the hosta there. So we're going to be filling in with some little potted plants. We have 2 cloth of golds. These are sun-loving plants, so it's a bit risky putting them here, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed and I can always move them if they don't seem to like it here. And then we have a chocolate clover. This should be fine here. And an extra fern just in case. We do have a fern situated there at the moment, and these ferns are evergreen, so should give us nice greenery through the winter. And also they will replace the shuttlecock ferns that will be dying off in the next week or so. Right, so let's start rearranging. Let's first take out the evergreen fern that we probably will be using. Then take out the canis lilies that are past their best. We'll just put them to one side. Luckily I kept them in their plastic pots. Just sit them on the shelf by the little potting shed. Then let's decide where to put what. Let's take the little pot out from the back, put the bigger pot there, put the little pot further forward. We may need a little pot for the front. Let's shuffle the shuttlecock fern and the hosta further back. This is the one that we'll be losing in the next week or so. Better. Right, so we just need a little pot for the front. Let's go and have a look in the potting shed. And voila, I found a little pot. That'll do. Right, now where to plant the plants. Which way around? The fern at the back. That'll cover up when we lose the shuttle fern. Maybe the cloth of gold here, and maybe opposite. Let's get the chocolate clover. He could go at the front. Maybe there. Other way around. Maybe sort of like that. Let's do this. So all these pots are just slightly bigger than the pots that the plants are in. So there's not much room for movement. And with the little pot at the front, I think that's going to be just a transfer. We'll see. Time to chill and plant. And there we go, that looks much better. So we just need to have a little clean up, give them a water. I think that's Gypsy Boy's job. We've got the extra fern, we'll put that to one side for planting next year, and over to Gypsy Boy. Right, on to our next job. And what's happened out here? Looks like there's been a tornado. Me and Gypsy Boy have had a tug of war getting all the box out of these tall pots. And this is the result. What a mess. And unfortunately the camera wasn't turned on. And it was probably for the best. It was a bit of a horror movie. There was builders' bums and huffing and puffing. Not a pretty sight. But we managed to get them out. We're going to be planting them in these 4 pots. Firstly downsizing the root ball, then we'll pot them all up at the same height in all the pots with fresh compost. Then once they've settled in over winter, we can get them all trimmed to be exactly the same, and I'm going to line them up down the side of the driveway here, and this will be their new home, and at the same time freeing up the tall pots for the courtyard. So let's do that. Right, that's all the root balls raked down by half. Let's line them up alongside their pot. All looking healthy. Now we just got to get them planted up all at the same height, and then we'll feed them in spring. So let's get them out of the way so Gypsy Boy can clean up, and then we can get on to planting. Next step, planting. This is quite simple. Fill the pot with enough compost so when you try the box in, the box height is level with the top of the pot. Once you've got it level, tuck it in. And there we go. Fabulous job. And sadly, a week later, autumn is finally here and things are starting to die back. Even the fig trees are starting to lose their leaves. And now it's just a case of keeping things looking as nice as possible for as long as possible. So let's start by chopping back some of the hostas that I've gone over and maybe some of the ferns. And also this is a sign that we're coming to the end of another great year in Chip's Green World. And before we go, let's take a look round the front. The ferns are looking a bit worse for wear, probably got a week left in them. The water gardens are closing down for the season. The grasses, the box balls and the home oaks are looking great. And the Acer is doing its special little thing, looking absolutely beautiful. Starting to lose some of its leaves now, but I did take a shot earlier in the week of it in the sunshine, and here it is. There we go, folks, another great year. Thanks for joining me. I hope you all have a great festive season, a fabulous winter, and I hope to see you all back in spring. I may do a Christmas vlog. Who knows, keep your fingers crossed. But for now, from me, Spud, Gypsy Boy, have a glorious Christmas and bye for now.